News broke yesterday on Quinshon Judkins and his arrest. We're going to be talking about the Browns' backfield. We're going to talk about Dylan Sampson and how he's the value. We're going to talk about Jerome and Quinshon Judkins' fantasy football value. But before we dig in, you need to click that subscribe button right now because we're talking about these players every day. We just dropped wide receiver rankings 2 days ago. We're doing player lists, looking at the advanced analytics, help you win your drafts with strategies, and we always help you set your lineups. Click that button. Stop missing out. But this is why we're here. We're here because of Quinshon Judkins slipping up. We got to see what happens, though. We're going to be Bayesian, but we're going to react to the news. We're going to talk about these players. So there's a chance that nothing comes out of this, and there's a chance that a suspension comes out of this. And if something happens, we're going to be prepared either way. But looking at his fantasy value as of right before it happened, because this is going to update here soon, he's around a 7th round pick. He's going to fall a little bit, and we're already seeing him fall in the rankings, but we'll get back to that. We're talking about Dylan Sampson, former 4-star recruit, 3-star, lighter in the rankings, but higher when it comes to recruiting with 24 offers, Power 5 programs after him. Had a 10.48 100-meter time, 21.16 200-meter time, speed there, clocking hot in high school. We're going to come back to that too as we get into the numbers, because at Tennessee, we had a ramp-up period. In 2023, we were sharing the backfield with Jalen Wright. Still got 7 touchdowns, 604 yards, 5.7 yards per carry, so working the passing game. Last year, we put the stamp on things. We were one of the best running backs in college football, 22 touchdowns, almost 1,500 yards, lighting up the SEC. 70 missed tackles, 8.2 yards after the catch per reception. We were in double digits the 2 years prior. So that is a reflection of his speed in the open field, and we see that on the field. We see that on the tape when we look at Dylan Sampson, and we put up good numbers against good competition. That's what we saw there. This is a good quality running back prospect that the Browns caught on the cheap. He had some big moments. He crushed Alabama, Kentucky, Arkansas, Iowa, Florida, Georgia. Hung 100 on Georgia and 92 on Oklahoma. Missed that game against Ohio State. Limited, actually, due to a hamstring injury. But there's more to that even. Because when it comes to the 40-yard dash time, clocked with a 4.42 40-yard dash off the rip, unofficial on social media, comes out later 4.45, 4.46. So a little slower than expected, but we're coming back from the hamstring injury. That is something, and it's important to note. When you adjust that, when you add the 0.05 to it, you get around 4.51 depending on the time you took. So you're looking at that speed score, 54th percentile. However, we hit 21.1 MPH on the field, 21.4 max that was calculated on the field, 91st percentile. We got speed to go. We got speed to blow it up. We can melt your face. We proved it in high school. We showed it on the field there at Tennessee. We got drafted in the 4th round of this year's draft by the Cleveland Browns. What does that mean, getting drafted in the 4th round? That means this is a deep running back class, deepest running back class of all time. 2 running backs going in the 1st, a lot of talent in the 2nd round. Caleb Johnson in the 3rd. Dylan Sampson was being ranked with the 2nd round running backs, and now we see him fall in the draft. That hamstring issue hurt his draft stock, and the Browns got him at a discount. But you look at Quinshon Judkins, 3-star prospect coming out of high school. 26 offers, big-time programs after him. 24/7 Sports whiffed on Judkins. They whiffed hard on Judkins. We covered that multiple times as we cover high school recruiting on this channel too, and we were looking at what he did at Ole Miss. We told Zach Evans, a prominent 5-star prospect at the time who didn't do anything in the NFL, to take a seat. As a freshman right out of high school, 1,500 yards, 16 touchdowns. The next year, we followed that up with 1,100 yards, 15 touchdowns. And then we go to Ohio State. We go win a natty. We share the backfield with Hendo. 14 touchdowns, 1,000 yards, 16 games, but still we got our production in. We averaged 3.23 yards after contact per attempt on our career. 43 missed tackles last year, but we were living in the 70s at Ole Miss in the SEC, 78 and 76 yards after the catch per reception. Solid. Last year we were sharing the workload in the passing game. We weren't used super heavy in the passing game at Ole Miss, but we were trucking with a lot of touches in the run game. We got a little breather with Ohio State, so we had more tread on our tires. going to Cleveland this year. But Quinshon Judkins gets drafted in the second round. This is a first-round talent. We're running into the 4.4s, 92nd percentile speed score at 221 pounds. Metrically compared to Nick Chubb, burst score solid. This looks like a cornerstone running back coming into the league. And we look at where he was getting drafted at. We look at him falling a little bit. We look at the stock market saying, hey, Judkins is going to be a discount. How far is he going to fall? I think people are looking at a possible suspension without knowing it, so they're just going with the other safe options here. So you may see some of the other wide receivers get drafted ahead of him. Some of the veteran running backs start getting drafted ahead of him. You're going to see him in the fall. And where are you going to take him at? Where do you want to take him at? Where things start getting ambiguous anyways at the running backs. That's where you want to be at. You may want to be ahead of that. You want to be ahead of those RB2s who are sharing touches, who are second in line in their backfield. You may want to be ahead of those running backs because he's falling like a knife right now. This is the big story. This is from Keep Trade Cut, a Dynasty website, but that's what people are thinking about this right now. They are dropping him immensely. And Dylan Sampson was always a great pick in the back end of drafts as an upside play. A remarkable prospect from Tennessee with upside, good athleticism. We were calling this backfield the Killer Bees, and he might get his moment where he's getting more touches than expected if there is a suspension. And no matter what, he's going to work his way up to touches. And the market's saying that right now, his price tag's going to go up. Where's it going to go back up to? I'm probably guessing it's going to go up to that Jaden Blue area. Somewhere around that in ADP. Probably ahead of Braylon Allen. Somewhere around Jalen Wright-ish, ironically. Somewhere around that area. Not exactly knowing, but he's going to shoot up quite a bit in value. As you're seeing him shoot up in value in Dynasty. And I think the Dynasty value he shot up to is more appropriate. I think he's going to be usable in fantasy no matter what, especially for the long term. Like, he should have been bought around this price initially. I think this is just kicking him up where the value should be, and he should have been a value to buy all along. And I've been picking him up in drafts and rookie drafts all offseason long, but Jerome Ford's here. He's a veteran on the team. You can't forget about Jerome Ford. Jerome Ford can be productive with the Browns. He has shown that off and on throughout his career. And the market's realizing this, but they're not pushing him up that much. They're pushing him up a little bit. And you're going to see him climb some rounds here because they're going to speculate on this backfield. But one thing you do have to notice is this is the Browns. This is the Browns, and the Browns are going to Brown. Look at the quarterbacks. Do you love this quarterback battle? You got to think about this. The pace of play is going to be slow, but they are going to rely on the run game. But the one thing I do want to note here before we head out is Dylan Sampson is a huge talent. Even with the bump in value, with him climbing some rounds in ADP, still going to be worth it. Even if Judkins gets a smack on the wrist, Judkins is going to fall in drafts. But if he's suspended, let's say worst comes to worst, maybe it's 6 games or so, you're looking at a rookie ramp up and then a come in. You're going to see a spike in value. Dynasty is going to come back up a little bit, and he's going to be out on the field. Then a few weeks comes by, and you're going to forget about it. And this is an incredible talent. This is a talent that you can put a lottery ticket on. If a suspension hits, then you're going to see his value in ADP tank. So right now, you're at a gamble right now when you're buying in right now. Because if nothing happens and you buy them on the low right now, you get that discount. And that's the gamble. You have to jump in on these gambles when you feel like you need to. So when you're looking at Judkins right now, this could be the time to get him if you can get him off that gamble. And the caveat to that is he gets that suspension and he tanks. And I'm not a lawyer, and I watch lawyers try to talk about this on Twitter. They don't know. They're just going over the things because you got to have all the facts, all the details, and then what goes down with that, then plus what the NFL does. But suspension-wise, if you catch that right before the season starts, the value is going to tank. And I imagine it's going to keep dropping throughout the offseason until we get final word. We'll probably see him back in training camp. I believe that's going to happen. We'll see him run around a little bit out there doing some drills. Dylan Sampson's a good running back, though. He's always been there in that 0 RB category where if you're looking for an upside play, there he is. And he has the potential to take over the league, be an RB1. Given the opportunity, we saw that at Tennessee. He has that potential in him. At that price, that's great to pay. At the price of Quinshon Judkins, it might get super cheap. It might not. He already got traded in some of my leagues. A first and a tight end instantly before Derek Lewis even fought last night. Before he even laced up the gloves and warmed up last night, he was being dealt. We saw those trades go down some of my leagues. That being said, people are moving them. People are moving them. And if I'm in Dynasty, I'm looking for a first-round caliber running back. This is a running back, even though he's being priced appropriately prior to this. But if you can catch him future first, it's going to be hard not to say no. You're not going to catch many running backs with this production prowess, with this athleticism prowess, and you're only going to miss a few games compared to a whole career that you're seeing right here. You may think that he might get dropped or anything like that by the Browns. Probably not going to happen. Probably not going to happen. That's one thing. Redraft-wise, he's a gamble. He's a gamble, a big-time gamble right now. But you're looking at Dylan Sampson, even with the price moved up, tremendous talent. That was a huge talent. Like, I wish that didn't happen so I can get more Sampson at that price. Jerome Ford, if you really catch news of a suspension, then you're interested in Jerome Ford because he is the veteran in this backfield. He's going to get that veteran workload, those veteran opportunities, and he's going to be usable in fantasy football. This Browns team, though, may not be that great pushing volume for fantasy and production, but it's still a team that you got to pay attention to. Dylan Sampson, though, the main take, though, stud prospect, good prospect coming out that was at a tremendous value, who's probably still going to be at a good value. Judkins' value is going to tank, and you got to make the decision whether or not you're going to gamble on it. Dynasty, that's an easier decision to make. Redraft, where it's a sprint, that's a little bit harder. Look at the veterans around them. Once you get to where those running backs are questionable, then it's easier to dive in because you're waiting on those running backs too. And those other running backs may not even do anything. And the wide receivers in that range with questionable running backs are definitely questionable. So it's like there's no difference there. But when there are veterans there that you can rely on, when you don't have all the information, then you know what to do if your gut's screaming go away because you got veteran players there to lean on. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I want to hear about that. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. One thing for watching. Catch you on the next video.